Hey everyone, we're at the downtown shooting downtown in Little Rock, Arkansas. We're about to interview the chief right now, get some information about what's going on right now. All we do know is that there are more than a dozen victims at this scene, so we're going to get some more information. We're just going to pan over here and get this.
Some sort of dispute broke out between individuals that were inside. An exchange of gunfire took place. We believe that the latest number has approximately 17 individuals that were injured as a result of gunfire.
Now, from the combined newsrooms of KARK4 and Fox 16, breaking news coverage.
Good morning, everyone. We do have breaking news for you this morning. A mass shooting in downtown Little Rock. I'm Donna Terrell.
And I am Aaron Nolan. Right now, here's what we know. 17 people were shot at Power Ultra Lounges in downtown Little Rock. It's one of those moments, Donna, when you wake up, you hear something like this. This is actually video from inside the club. Listen to the shots fired.
We are told there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 shots that were fired inside of this club last night. This happened around 2:30 in the morning. We're going to start with team coverage. We have Price McKeon. She is live at the scene. Price, this situation is fluid still. What do we know right now?
What we know right now are the basics of what police are telling us right now. We know that 17 people were hit by gunfire, according to police. One of those people they originally said was in critical condition. They've updated that to stable condition. I'm going to get out of the way, though, so you can see what is going on exactly behind me. Crime scene investigators just cleared the scene a few minutes ago, clearing what evidence markers they had down here. You can see that there are windows busted out there.
Preliminary information has a group from Memphis that was performing at this location. Some sort of dispute broke out between individuals that were inside. An exchange of gunfire took place. We believe that the latest number has approximately 17 individuals that were injured as a result of the gunfire. We
do know that 17 people, according to police, 17 people were shot. Some people were hurt. Well, were shot. Some people were hurt because they were trampled trying to get out of the facility. Jonathan Roselle is at UAMS, where 9 victims were taken.
We do know that one victim, a woman, was in critical condition initially this morning. She, we're told by police, is doing better at this hour right now.
17 people shot at this club. Right here, Power Ultra Lounge, right in the heart of downtown Little Rock. You can see this is Broadway running this way, Interstate 30 here, the River Market in this location, Power Ultra Lounge right in the middle of it all. Here is the bird's eye view of that club. You can see, Donna, as you were just reporting, as we kind of zoom in, let's kind of walk through what we were seeing here. You can see the windows there, Donna. Those are the windows that were broken. If we can go down to street level, Alan. Here we go. All right, hold it right there for just a second. Okay, those windows to the top right corner of your screen are broken. What you're telling me is that we have had reporters who can say that people were jumping out of those windows, possibly hitting that red awning you see there to get to safety. And Donna, you have been inside this. Fox 16 actually hosted a party inside there. What is the setup like when you walk into this restaurant slash bar slash concert venue?
Well, when you walk in, there is a restaurant area where there are tables, and straight ahead of you is a bar area. And when I say bar, I mean a bar where they're, you know, making cocktails and that sort of thing. Right next to it is another room where there's more of a restaurant. And if you proceed to go back to the back of the building, there are some stairs that will take you upstairs. Upstairs is where the concert was, and that is where the shooting happened.
This gentleman who tells me that people who were there and witnessed were saying that this was something that may have been brought from Memphis. It may have been something that maybe didn't have anything to do with the people here, and that's according to the gentleman that I spoke to.
Anthony Fontenot, he got shot in the back, and he a good dude, so it's just sad to hear something like that happen to a good person like that. Something need to change.
There was a group that was performing at the Power Ultra Lounge last night. The group called Finesse 2 times. And we have several times, and we'll probably do this again. Well, there you have it there. That is the Twitter page of Finesse 2 times. And look at what he is holding in his hand. I will say no more. I will just let that sink in. Governor Asa Hutchinson, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Well, Donna, good morning to you, and such a tragic event overnight. And we're all praying for those that have been impacted by this, the victims and their families. But we're also looking at the larger picture of the community where we live.
Mayor Stodola, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And I guess the first thought, what was the emotion, what was the feeling when you heard 17 people shot inside your city?
Well, my heart just sinks, and I got a sick feeling in my stomach.
We have our Attorney General, Leslie Rutledge, who is on the phone right now.
Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin joins us on the phone. Lieutenant Governor, I texted you this morning, and I don't know if that was the first time you heard about the mass shooting, but I do want to know, what was your emotion when you did first realize that a shooting happened? You know, I've been to your house, 3 or 4 minutes away from your house.
Yeah, so I saw it just sort of drift across my phone as one of the breaking news alerts.
Coverage of a news conference is live this afternoon. It's going to happen around 3 o'clock. Here's our special report. Plus, there's a prayer vigil downtown at 8:15 tonight. We're also going to be at that. We are dedicated to finding victory over violence as the Little Rock mass shooting has impacted us all. We will continue our coverage as 17 people shot downtown Little Rock. People were shot overnight at a club in downtown Little Rock.
Some sort of dispute broke out between individuals that were inside. An exchange of gunfire took place.
Shots just got fired and everybody just took off running.
No mother should have to go through this. They need to put the guns down, stop the violence.
When does this gun violence in Little Rock, when does it end?
I could have possibly had to try to sit down and explain to my grandbaby why her mother wasn't coming home. You know, this is unreal.
We've got to get a handle on this. It's got to be done.
We can't let this define who we are.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us both on KRK4 and Fox 16. I'm Kevin Kelly.
And I'm Victoria Price. A very, very big story we're following here. That shooting happening at the Power Ultra Lounge on West 6th Street just before 2:30 this morning. Take a look at this map right here. As you can see, the club is right in the heart of downtown Little Rock.
Yeah, here's what we know at this hour. At least 25 people were shot, 3 others injured while leaving the scene. It happened during a performance by a group from Memphis called Finesse 2 Times.
Now, miraculously, not a single casualty from this, despite how many people who were shot. All the victims here were sent to several hospitals in Little Rock, North Little Rock, and Conway.
Yeah, and according to police, the youngest of those victims, just 16 years old. And so far, no one has been arrested. Little Rock Police, along with the mayor, just wrapped up a news conference at City Hall. Our very own Mitch McCoy was there. He joins us live with the latest. Mitch.
Yeah, Kevin and Victoria, good evening to both of you guys. About a minute up the road is City Hall, and that is where this news conference took place. But I want to show you guys exactly what's happening here at this nightclub at 6th and Louisiana. We're about, 15 hours after that first gunshot started being fired, and it is still a very chaotic scene. You have crime scene units here right now. You have broken glass, which we're told by the mayor and the police chief somebody jumped out of.
I think when you have a concert venue where you have young people and it forced these 2 cities into a small room and some kind of dispute ensues, it was a recipe for a disaster.
The chief says it's still too early to know if the suspects are from the Little Rock area or if they're from Memphis or possibly both.
But right now we want to go to our very own Stephanie Sharp, who talked to one family whose loved one was at the club when that shooting went down. That person was shot and underwent surgery for several hours. Stephanie, I don't know if you were able to get an update on this person's condition, but bring us up to speed.
Hey, well, yeah, Kevin. Now, her family tells me that she is actually one of the 2 people in critical condition tonight. They say that she was shot in her shoulder and she could possibly lose her arm. And her family tells me that she was just an innocent bystander at the concert last night. They also say, and they want to send a message, that the violence has to stop here in Central Arkansas.
The only thing you hear is your child name and gunshots. I still can't believe it.
Renee Dominic says her 19-year-old daughter, Dejana Mixon, still on a ventilator in the hospital.
And I don't wish this on nobody, no mother.
She was shot at the Power Ultra Lounge shooting early Saturday morning.
Some friends knocked on my door at 3-something this morning. I didn't get a call at all. Just thank God she had some friends that knew where I live.
She says Dejana, who is in the Army, was shot in the shoulder and underwent a nearly 6-hour surgery. She says doctors may have to amputate her arm.
I thank God he saved my baby. If she got to lose her arm, I'd rather have her here breathing.
Many family members by her side.
Oh, Lord God, and we know that it could have been worse.
Yes, Lord.
Praying for Dejana and all the other people involved.
Yes. And we bless your name.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Her father, Daryl Mixon, says he didn't think his daughter would be a victim to violence.
Never have I thought I would have to be in these shoes. Never in a million years.
Asking for guns to be put down.
You have to care for your fellow human. The violence has to stop.
Leaning on faith that Dejana will recover and pleading that the shooting stop.
Please put the guns down. Stop the violence. Stop it, please. We're losing too many of our babies over nonsense.
And her family tells me that they haven't been able to talk to her yet because she still is on that ventilator. However, there are several more families dealing or going through the same emotions as that family is. Charmaine Nero, she was actually able to speak with a mother. Her daughter was sitting in the front row when all of this went down. She was able to talk with her today. Charmaine, she's in studio. What can you tell us?
Exactly, Stephanie. Nakia Baker says seeing her daughter covered in blood is the worst moment of her life. But worse than that, having to tell her granddaughter that her mother had been shot.
But she decided she wanted to go to this concert. And all that could have changed in the blink of an eye.
Nakia Baker is no stranger to violence in Little Rock.
I came through an area where we were drive-by shootings and the whole nine.
It hit a little too close to home when she got a phone call last night from one of her daughters.
We were going to have to run up to the hospital because my daughter had been shot.
Frantically, Nakia drove to Power Ultra Lounge.
And it was a war zone by the time we got there. 2
agonizing hours later.
And when we found her, she was covered in blood, her clothes. Of course, she didn't have on any shoes.
21-year-old Brinley Cunningham was in the front row when shots rang out.
This morning, I could have possibly had to try to sit down and explain to my grandbaby why her mother wasn't coming home. You know, this is unreal.
Her daughter describes the scene as bullets coming from the stage. She remembers jumping over what she thought were dead bodies.
Innocent people. Those people, when they went in there last night, they had no idea that they were going to come out of there in ambulances.
She's thankful she won't have to explain to her grandbaby her mother is gone.
Again, I could have lost my child last night. You know, I'm so thankful to God that I didn't.
Now, she says going forward, she hopes clubs tighten up security and guns aren't allowed inside. Back to you.
I'm sure she's not the only one who is thinking that, especially in light of what we witnessed earlier. You've seen the video. I've seen the video from inside the nightclub. It's just amazing when you count the number of shots that were fired.
Somewhere between 20 to 40, and that's just from one video.
Yeah, that no one was killed in that incident. For those of you who may not have seen it, we want to give you a quick peek as to how this all unfolded at around 2:30 this morning inside that club.
It's absolutely terrifying, just complete chaos you can see in that video there. Just to reiterate, 25 people were shot during this attack at this time. We know that 2 of those victims are still listed as critical. 3 others were hurt just during the chaos you can see from that video. As soon as those gunshots rang out, just chaos inside the club. 3 people hurt just trying to escape the melee of those folks trying to get out during all those chaos as the shots rang out. So obviously a total of 28 people injured in some way from this. A lot of area hospitals stepping up to help these victims. One in North Little Rock, one in Conway, and then 3 Little Rock hospitals stepping up, including UAMS.
Yeah, and that's where we find our very own Jonathan Rozelle. Jonathan, you actually talked with one doctor there as victims just started pouring in to the emergency room. Some of those victims driving themselves to the hospital.
That's absolutely right, Kevin. The ER doctor tells me that medical staff received text alerts that many of the shooting victims would be heading here to UAMS for care. And he says that's when workers sprang into action.
We definitely have nights that are busy.
UAMS Dr. William Beck says this was one of them, as several people were shot at Power Ultra Lounge.
This is traumatic, right? I mean, nobody goes out at night and expects to be shot at. Mechanism of injury.
Dr. Beck says staff were alerted via text. 11 gunshot victims will be receiving care at his hospital.
And once we got word that there were multiple casualties coming, we had nurses from all over the hospital, really, that were not free, but not busy, come down to the emergency room to help out.
Authorities say one shooting victim went to Conway Regional. 2 others were taken to Children's Hospital. 3 shooting victims were admitted to St. Vincent in Little Rock, 3 to Baptist Hospital in Little Rock, and 6 went to Baptist Hospital in North Little Rock.
Quickly triaged.
Beck says every patient at his hospital had a doctor and at least 2 nurses.
This is not a regular incident by any stretch of the word, but you know, they are used to dealing with sick patients, with you know, sudden delivery of patients with these kind of situations.
And rely on the system a couple of years old to handle gunshot victims.
Generally, I tell, you know, we know for the most part, based on the injury pattern and the trajectory, who is going to have a harder time than the rest of them. And so for the folks that have injuries to, you know, their hands or feet or things like that, I tell them they're going to be fine. They're in the right place. We're going to get them taken care of.
A lot of questions tonight surrounding the club itself, the owner, what security was like, and ultimately who is responsible here. I'm Marcy Manley, learning more about the club's owner. And Marcy, you say that there's actually a paper trail following both the club and the man who owns it. Is that right?
Yeah, so far Herman Lewis hasn't answered phone calls or responded to requests for comment about the shooting at his club, aside from hanging up on Jonathan Rozelle. But we have learned that there appear to be court cases for debts owed against Herman Lewis in the past month, and it appears there may be other issues like taxes owed as well. Alcoholic beverage control officials say there have been 7 violations cited against the Power Ultra Lounge since 2012, including multiple violations for underage drinking. ABC has suspended the lounge's mixed drink license with at least 3 potential violations at play at this point. Lewis will have the chance to appear at an ABC hearing on July 10th. Those potential violations against the club at this point include allowing possession of weapons on the premises, disorderly conduct, and failure to be a good neighbor. City officials say they intend to try and shut down the Power Ultra Lounge location.
I want to bring in Fox 16's Jessie Teneur. She joins us live from the nightclub, where many of the neighbors there say the mass shooting certainly is not going to make them neglect their city, but rather some of them are going to, you know, stand up and fight for it, right?
Yeah, Kevin, that's exactly right. A 21-year-old who recently moved to the downtown area, he wanted to move down here to provide a better life for him, his wife, and their newborn baby. And he was saying while a mass shooting may discourage some people, it certainly doesn't. It motivates them. Many Arkansans enjoyed a Saturday stroll through downtown Little Rock.
He's so pretty.
Families walking past historic buildings, the famous River Market. But for those who made it to 6th Street, the scenery quickly turned ugly.
That's not cool, you know what I'm saying? People got babies like myself.
Just 2 weeks after Cepeda Munoz moved his family downtown, 25 people ranging in age from 16 to 35 were shot right down the street during a concert at Power Ultra Lounge.
That's just ridiculous. It's like, I don't really know how I'm supposed to be comfortable with leaving my wife, you know, and my baby alone.
This wasn't the first time older residents of the downtown area have seen the police cars and caution tape.
There have been some incidents and some gunfire before.
But Indy Stewart, who's lived across the street from the nightclub for 6 years, believes even a mass shooting is no reason to move.
There's going to be problems anywhere you live.
But a new dad believes it is a reason to change.
We need to stop the violence, really.
In Munoz's short 21 years of life, he's learned firsthand people need to want to change before a community can unite.
It's not about, you know what I'm saying, what colors you're wearing. It's not about how your hat's hanging. It's not about if your pants are sagging. Like, it's not just amongst black people.